But I would just like to come back to this thing about synthetic a priori proposition, because you asked me about the Copernican revolution, and the point about the Copernican revolution is that Kant thought that he could prove these basic propositions, synthetic a priori propositions, at least those that underpin nature, like every event has a cause, and that substance can neither be created nor destroyed, if we go through this Copernican revolution and make the world to some extent dependent on our mind, rather than hoping that our mind will fit a world that exists entirely independently of
fantastic.
us.
John, you disagreed with some of what Andrew said there?
Not so much disagreed, but Kant describes himself as an idealist of a certain kind.
Which means?
By idealism, we understand that something about the world is dependent on the mind.
Right.
Now, you might think that, I don't know, you might think that the colours of things are really just in our mind, and the world as it is in itself isn't really coloured. So then you'd be an idealist about colour.
Sorry, by the world as it is in itself, you mean the world independent of our perceptions of it?
Exactly.
Right.
And so then you'd be an idealist about colour, for example.
Right.
Kant is an idealist about space and time.
Yeah,
he thinks that the space and time is only in our minds and isn't in the world independently of our minds. But there's something he's not an idealist about, and that there is a world out there, that the existence of the world, he thinks, we don't bring the world into existence by virtue of thinking about it.
Right.
We bring certain features or characteristics of it into existence, but not the very fact that it's there.
Well, can I just query you about the space and time thing? I mean, if the world independent of us doesn't exist in space and time, then first of all, where does our experience of space and time come from? And how can it possibly be true that things are ordered in our experience at all if space and time don't exist for those things themselves?
Well, it's a tricky one.
Yeah, right.
But it's space and time are some of the things that Kant thinks we contribute.
Right.
So we have
in our experience of the world.
Yeah.
Right?
So it's our mind. We get stimulated somehow by the world out there, and then we project things onto it. Now, some people think we might project our colours onto it. Other people think like Hume, we project causal experience onto it.
Right.
Kant thinks we project even that things are to the left of and to the right of each other. That things are on top of. That these kinds of on top of, below of, these kinds of ways of describing the world are just ways in which our mind interpret the data that comes in. So any order that is, any spatial order, for example, that's out there is something that we've contributed. That's his thought.
Okay.